everybody, it's TJ Majors. Spotted the 6 Cup car this weekend. Also had the 88 Xfinity car. Eventful weekend.
It was an eventful weekend. Brett Griffin spotter for Austin Hill yesterday. Man, we were going to have a top 15 run, and then we got punted.
I know the feeling.
We got punted. Speaking of punting.
What's up? Freddie Kraft, spotter for Bubba Wallace and Kyle Sieg this week. Just another day at the
Did you get
office.
punted, Freddie?
I did get punted.
You look like that ball Shane kicked on Saturday.
We definitely got punted. What's up, Casey?
Hey guys, Casey Vogt here, and I would say we have absolutely nothing to talk about after the Chicago race, so might be a quick show, I would say.
On to Pocono.
Yeah. All right, well, I'll kick things off. Alex Bowman finally gets his win, snapping an 80-race winless streak.
That guy.
Yeah, I would say how was the race, but I maybe want to steer clear of Freddie at the moment. Brett, let's start with you. What y'all think?
Brett, hold on. Let's start. Brett.
What?
Oh no.
Yeah.
Did you make it? You survived
Yeah,
Chicago.
I mean,
Did you? And I got news. I got news for
I don't see
everybody.
any holes in your shirt.
He
You're
was going to
good.
be my one
Brett-
idiot, but
Brett,
you know.
Brett enjoyed Chicago.
He did.
Me and Freddie were riding around with an Uber driver leaving Wrigley, and we hear these 3 loud bangs, and I look at the Uber driver, and I'm like, were those gunshots? He goes, man, you never know around here. Me and Freddie started laughing. But listen, I will tell you, I've been to more major sporting events than anybody in this room, because I'm older. But logistically, I've never been to anything like that has to be pulled off from the ground up and built. And I'm talking structures, I'm talking buildings, I'm talking fences, I'm talking walls, tire barriers, stages, hauler parkings,
Travel.
from anything and everything that it took to pull that off. Like, I was there and I was looking around. I mean, I work in events and experiential marketing, so I have an idea of what it takes, but I was like, holy hell, how much money did this cost? And whoever pulled this off had an amazing team around them, and obviously it sounds like the city is now supporting it versus where a year ago, they weren't. The mayor went from making some funky comments about whether or not he was going to let us come back to showing up at the driver's meeting in a fire suit saying that NASCAR is uniting the country, which I agree with that comment. But logistically, holy amazement, Casey. Like, doesn't get any better than that.
And to think they did that in probably just over 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To set all that up and disrupt the city as little as
The final part
possible.
didn't start until like Thursday.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The roads, like closing the roads and
Yeah.
stuff. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it's just such little disruption. Then you get in an Uber like me and Brett did, and you talk to the Uber drivers, and you're like, man, how much does this screw you up? Because obviously Michigan Avenue is a big deal going down there, and they're like, really not at all. He's like, they did such a good job of rerouting it, and to avoid that little section for a little bit, and that's not a big deal. But yeah, I mean, and then listen, I feel so bad for Julie, her team. These guys can't catch a break. I mean, this
Weather.
like me and TJ did some tour bus rides in the morning, and we're looking at the weather, and it's like a 10% chance all day long.
Meaning
Like
you
nothing.
actually gave the tours, or you?
Yeah, we gave the tours. Yeah,
I
we did, yeah.
figured
That's
after
the first
that
time-
handshake.
That's the
drink you
first
had?
time I ever saw the whole lap. A whole lap around the racetrack.
Next year, if we do it, I'll be like, this is turn 4. Right here is where Freddie got sent. That's what I was able to say that with mine. I said, this is turn 6 where we got punted by Eric Jones lap 1 last year. But no, I was thinking about it last night. Like what Brett said, that it almost flowed smoother than a regular race weekend. Like, it was almost easier than going to a regular track. How we get there. We drive in. The hotels are all fairly conveniently
Well, that
close.
must be nice.
Well, I mean, it's not. It could be worse.
It took me 3 hours from the end of the race to get
Why'd
to the
you
airport.
walk?
It took me to get to the, and that's not the track's fault. This is just how the teams have it set up. But it took me 3 hours, almost over 3 hours, to get from the track to the airport last
If it
night.
makes you feel any better, I got to the airport and I waited 3 hours on the 48 team to get there to get home. I'll say this too, before we dive into all the logistics of the show. I've watched the sport revolutionize, if you will, from being all about the at-track experience to all about TV ratings. And I feel like everything the sport does these days is all about TV ratings, with the exception of 2 races, the Daytona 500 and the All-Star race. When I get there, I feel like the fan experience is at the top of their priority list. this Chicago race had the same vibe and same feeling. I had people, hit me up on Twitter asking me what I thought. Obviously, they knew I was skeptical about it going into last year. And I told them, come down here, stay in this block of the vicinity of this hotel, because this is where it's all at, and you will have an amazing fan experience. We need to do that every single week, because the driver intros, were they crazy? No, but the night before, that was cool as hell what they did the night before, bringing all the drivers out, before the chain smokers. And when I just look at the overall scope of everything they did for the fans, 10 out of 10. And obviously it was promoted as, hey, we've got some big concerts. Hey, we've got a race. Thankfully, they got to pull those things off. So 10 out of 10. More tracks need to do that.
Yeah, we're making baby steps. We got the concerts in this year, and hopefully next year we'll get the race in.
But I'm not – the race, actually it was cool because there was different strategies, kind of like we talked about. When NASCAR, and I thought this was really cool of them, they kind of took the kid gloves off and said, here you guys go. You make the call, and said, you can come back down and put whatever tires on you want. You can start where you're supposed to start, but you got to pick right here. And then some guys made some decisions. I mean, nobody really knew what to do because we're all kind of learning this, and some guys paid a bigger price than others. And the same thing happened at the end with the last, stage break there. Some guys came down and put slicks on. Well, it took longer than I think. I think it definitely took longer what they wanted to for the slicks to have enough grip to overcome the rain tires, which were also wearing out at the time. But you had that mix. You had guys that were fading. You had guys that were flying, and it made it exciting. I don't like.
Yeah. When I talk about the race, I'm talking about the fact that a lot of people left.
Yeah,
that's
that
my
part of it.
Do you blame them?
No, I don't.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that I hate that the track didn't get to the full fan experience.
Yeah.
I'm sure they lost money on some of the retail and concession sales.
The race was good though.
But at the end, you have a perfect scenario at the end where guys seemed like they were in a rush to get the dry tires on, because we saw early in the race the track dried right out. Well, obviously throughout the middle of the race you had much more rain than you had earlier. So I think people once they saw like a little dry patch, they were like, oh God, this thing's going to dry right out. We better get on these dries.
It didn't do that.
And it didn't do it the second time. And then I still think if the execution is properly done, the dry tires win the race. Christopher Bell should have won the race, I think. He's going by two guys, and I think he's going to put himself in position before he gets wrecked. I think Tyler runs Bowman down at the end. Now, I don't know if he can pass him because he's going to have to get offline where the track was still pretty damp.
I think you just get offline and you take what you need.
Yeah,
when you get there.
He could be more aggressive, and the Bowman, the only shot he had was to keep them wets on, and that's what prevailed and win him the race.
Yeah, and that's like the end of the race strategy. If we don't get one of them cautions, we probably finish fourth, fifth, something like that. Bowman wins still. You got Joey Hand probably finishes second in the race because we were on that strategy of, okay, we're keeping the wets on no matter what. We're going to run a timed race here. Hopefully there's some wrecks or, that slow it down enough or we get away far enough where they can't catch us. And it was cool seeing those strategies play out. I'd rather play offense, but we were going to finish 11th, and in turn 11 we got punted, and which cost us 7 spots. So, but that's just, I guess it's part of it,
Yeah.
And
listen, kudos to NASCAR. That's the first time. I mean, I know we've had races where we're getting close to darkness, and then they say,
yeah,
hey, there's 10 to go, or this was. I mean, it's the first stage, and they said cutoff time is 8:20, and then with I don't even know, it was like an hour left. They replaced the lap counter on the scoreboard with a timer, and I don't ever remember that happening. And you knew exactly how much time was left. Now
there was some confusion.
We had some confusion about the wording of the rule, the way the world, the rule. Can you tell the world?
Tell us about that.
Can you tell I got home at 3:00 in the morning? The rule is written that as time expires. I got it right. Gluck had
essentially, at time expires, you get 2 to go.
Basically.
You get the white the second time.
But the
next flag ends the race.
But it was very confusing when the tower was saying there's 10 minutes left in the race. I'm like, no, there's not. There's 10 minutes and 2 laps.
Yeah.
Unless we get a caution.
But the tower also, a lot of the people on our stand, I don't know about your stand, were under the impression that when the clock ran out, we were coming to the white. And the tower, even as Bowman, the clock runs out, Bowman's he's in that loop. He's probably getting up into 10, 11.
Yep.
And the tower starts
coming to the white
flag.
Maybe not.
What? And then as Bowman goes by, they're like, okay, now he's coming to the white flag. And you're like, okay, well, because I'm telling my guy, I'm like, I think we're coming to the white now. Oh, maybe not. There's no white. Keep digging for 2 more laps. But yeah, I mean, all in all, it's obviously.
I think he dug for 2.5.
All in all, it was, I thought, a good product on the track. There's a lot of, like TJ said, a lot of different differing strategies and just a lot going on. And it was exciting for the fans to watch.
3-year deal initially signed. Yeah. After the first year, again, the mayor alluded to, he didn't know if he would have us back. Obviously, he did. I can't see us not going back there for a third year.
The atmosphere is incredible. Like, it's just, there's so much to do. The convenience of everything, like we were, and I would have been a little worried about the like Freddie said, the Uber guy. That like there's 1,000 Ubers, maybe more, and to not inconvenience them guys and have that set up there, and the access around the track, where the fans and we look around. I mean, there were just fans walking around everywhere. It like kind of like a COTA, but you can't really walk around COTA because it's like 8 miles long, but here. I mean, turn 1 and turn 6 about hit each other. And the fans, man, the scenery is incredible. They're just out kind of going through a stroll in the park, but they're at a racetrack now. And talking to a couple locals under the delays, red flags, they came the first year and they're back this year and they're like, man, there's even better now. So, and we did that bus tour, and the one group said they brought friends back this year. They came last year, and they enjoyed it so much they brought friends back this year and did a bus tour. So
I think when NASCAR opens the gates at every track, they make money. I think they're not making money there. Well, I don't see how they would be making money unless the city of Chicago were paying them a $5 or $6 million check to roll into town, and I think it may even be the opposite. Where I'm going with this is, we talk about wanting to diversify the fan base, whether that be age, race, religion, whatever. In a city like Chicago, you can do that. Yeah. If we're racing in the middle of nowhere in Brooklyn, Michigan, it ain't going to happen.
I thought that Gluck made a great point last night on the teardown that, if you told me we're not going back to the Coliseum for a third year, I'd be like, thank God. Yeah. I'm good with that. If you told me that we're not going back to Chicago for a third year, I'd be like, we are royally screwing up. And that's kind of they were kind of built in the same mold of trying to draw in new fans and a diverse crowd. And it seemed like the Coliseum, I thought we had a pretty good year the first year. And then it kind of tailed off, where I thought this year was just as big as last year. Obviously, weather related. We'll see what next year does. But I think next year is going to be the same thing. As long as you bring back the same kind of music festival atmosphere to it. I mean, you had big names there all day yesterday, Saturday night, there was a lot to do, a lot to see. I mean, some of them, while we're driving around the track on the tour bus, and that picture down Lakeshore Drive of these cars hauling ass with the lake in the background, it's unbelievable. Some of the shots of these guys like cresting the little hills coming in like turn 7 or turn 11 or turn 12, I should say. I mean, just unbelievable views, and like you said, it's just the atmosphere alone was well worth us going back, maybe numerous times.
For sure.
And I would say, broadcast-wise, I think for as many aspects of that track that there are, they did a great job covering as much as they possibly could. Even the aerial coverage of it was awesome. So I feel like by not being able to be there, I didn't miss much from the race.
Which you saw more than I did. I can promise you. I could see my car for 8 seconds a lap where I was at. And it's part of it is they're going so damn fast. Yeah. Like I saw the second half of the carousel, 10, 11, and then when they shot back toward the front, toward turn 12, they had put up banners or whatever, tarps, and you couldn't see that straightaway at all. But
how many spotters did you guys have?
We had 4 on our team. Some guys I think were trying to have 5, but honestly, I hate to say this, you could really do it with 1. Like just figure out the best place to put the main spotter, let them have 1 spotter. But the thing about NASCAR that's cool is NASCAR makes us have 1 spotter in a designated area, and then it's up to the teams to do the rest. So the teams are having to invest in where you're going to put all these other guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically. I mean, we were one of the teams that had 5 guys. And
what was the biggest contribution you made as a spotter yesterday?
Not much.
Me either, bro.
Just turn 1, turn 1 and turn 6, and I really couldn't see anything in turn 6.
Thankfully, no wrecks happened by me. A couple checkups, especially when we would restart on wets. But
obviously, you can get wrecked with 3 and you get wrecked with 5, so it don't matter.
Yeah, it's like the spotters. Each spotter, it's one thing like Watkins Glen, we can see, turn 1 and then the last 2 or 3 turns, and then wherever else we go, we see a good portion of the racetrack. Here, every spotter's got like 1 turn. There's a couple that could I can kind of see you into 2 and maybe a little into 7, or it's just, it's just not a track built for, that's not what it's built for.
It's a street course. So,
yeah, and
honestly, for, the main stand, you can probably, you got 2 braking zones, which is probably why it's the best place.
Yeah, and where we are, first and foremost, our job has always been safety, and that's all really these spotters are doing at these places is
worried about wrecks.
I've got a car in the wall over here, or some of them miss them in Xfinity practice.
I wish that y'all had been on my radio because Jesse Love was spotting for us.
I was gonna ask you about that.
And B, there was a text thread between me and Jesse.
You
that
broke
was
his
going back and
heart
forth.
before the race ever started.
Why? What happened?
Because you wouldn't let him go stand next to his friend.
He texted me going, "Can I spot where Connor Zilich is at? Because he's my buddy, and I miss him." And I'm like, "No, off. This is my area. You're not coming to spot my area because you miss Connor Zilich."
Where is he at on the bus?
I put him in turn 2 is where he decided to go. But Jesse was like, "Man, how do I sound? These kids want instant gratification." I'm like, "You sound like." He's like, "What?" Because his radio had a delay in it, so he would key up and talk, and then he was hearing his feedback in both ears. So then he started talking like this. So then I texted him. I was like, "Man, you don't. Now you sound worse." So he got a complex over how he sounded. So the first thing that happens when we get on the bus last night, and he's like, "Man, what do I got to do to sound better?"
Turn that radio on. I did a test with him. It was
Not
like one of the newer radios that RE has, and I did a test with it, and Bubba's like, "Well, are you all right?" I go, "Yeah." What? He goes, "Well, you sound like you're having a stroke or you're drunker than you normally are." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Because what happens is the feedback is
it slows your
a
brain
little
down.
delayed, so then it slows you, and you're trying to match your voice. So then you're going, like Brett said, you are talking like this. You are clear out here behind the 9, and you're like, what the hell is wrong with it?"
It was fun. I
Is that what
love
happened
Jesse.
in the 4?
And
I maybe
all clear.
Send it in
Inside
there.
48's there.
I genuinely appreciate him staying after the race to, because obviously he raced the day before, had a great run.
Yeah.
May or may not have jumped a restart on his teammate Austin Hill. And he stuck around and everything was going smooth. And then he waited on a bus 4 hours. And I was like, yeah, he's probably not going to second spotter again. But
I don't know. He probably
retire.
liked it. Jesse, first of all, don't even worry what you sound like. You're a driver. I wouldn't think you need to worry about what spot.
It's
your
great
spot sounds like.
I told him it's a good thing you're good at driving because you suck at spotting, which I was joking with him. But I said, "Do you want to help me at Indy? Because I think I may be in a scenario where I spot at Indy." And he's like, "Man, I'm going to have to train. I'm not ready for this." So I think all drivers should have to spot.
Jesse can do
Don't
it.
scan yourself up that rate, and you're going to be fine. Just don't listen to yourself.
Yeah.
All right. Well, a few other surprises. Looking at that Xfinity race, SVG Larson battle, how do you even describe that? Is that considered one of the best Xfinity segments?
I describe it as SVG playing with one of the greatest drivers in the world because I think SVG could have done just about anything he wanted in that race. It looked like he just followed Larson around, stayed on his bumper for 5 laps.
He was making him overdrive the corners on purpose.
It's like he was just toying with him.
Larson obviously is no lack of talent, and
No.
you watch SVG's in car, and he's missing every single corner. Shane's back there probably just smiling a little, waiting. You know what I mean? But really fun to watch. We were riding 4th, I think, at that point, and I was working with Connor Mosak, and he
Speaking of harpooning people, geez.
no, we didn't harpoon anybody. Just inside, you can't make the corner when there's a car there. But we shouldn't have been there. But anyway,
Wow, TJ just admitted his guy.
Must not be
well,
his
we
section.
should.
No, in his section, he would have totally.
Oh, it was turn 1. That's totally my section. But yeah, we were just, everyone's watching it. You're just waiting for where were you at? Did you have any video feed or anything?
No. So in order to get video feed, you had to lean way over and look to your right, and Glenn McCowan would do it simultaneously, so I couldn't see nothing.
Oh, you're not seeing around Larry. We call him Larry, by the way. If you're
Larry. Yeah,
Larry.
I couldn't see anything thanks to him. No. I couldn't see the video board because of him, and thanks to Vince, who's been around for 100 years, I couldn't see because of his shoulder and his arm and his holding his wrist out. I keep slapping him in the arm.
You could have put a projector on the back of Glenn and probably watched it.
Yeah.
So it'd be a billboard leading your way.
Anyway, no, I didn't get to see as much of the race as you two did.
It was we're watching it, and you're like, every corner, you're like, okay, one of them, they're getting ready to make contact or something here, but no, it was great.
Yeah.
I watched Xfinity race on TV, and it was one of the best Xfinity races in the history of America, and that is saying a lot because I'm a huge Xfinity, and I'm a huge Xfinity fan.
The front half of the field, in Xfinity.
Yeah, well, I can say the end of the race was atrocious. Like, I mean, the racing itself, like the leaders up front, like I think that was the only time SVG was really challenged all day was when they got off sequence a little bit with some of the guys that were able to they got. Yeah. The second half of the race was half caution. It was like 17 to 16 green flag laps versus yellow flag laps.
Yeah.
And that made a lot of these guys who took a risk on, pitting earlier for fuel have enough to get there. So like Jesse and them had a little bit older tire. So now this was the time where SVG was challenged and he had to get through there. And you're passing good guys. You're passing, Jesse, Ty Gibbs was up in there. I think you guys were up in there. Like there was a bunch of good cars.
The 17 and the 88 were on the same strategy, and that was our plan, was just to follow those two guys because they were. You would think they're going to duke it out at the end too. If everyone gets through there like they're supposed to, they're going to be fighting for the win at the end. But caution slowed that down. Didn't really get a chance to play out like that, but that's street court racing though. And what's funny about this Xfinity race at Chicago is you look at the entry list and the bottom, Freddie, maybe 7 guys, this is their first race, and man, what a challenging place to go to with a car. Xfinity cars are not easy to drive.
No.
So a challenging car, a lot of inexperienced drivers on a street course.
On the most unforgiving track in NASCAR history.
No room for error.
You look at, and this is a perfect example of, like, Kyle Sieg will be the first one to tell you that he is not
a road
Ron
racer.
Fellows. You know what I mean? Like
I'm glad he points that out.
He's trying to get better at it, but and we luckily got in the race. We blew a motor in practice and just got the last spot of the race.
Missed a shift.
So I think he did. But I never confirmed that, so it might be not. But we literally were pretty much the last car in line for majority of the race. 38 cars start Xfinity, right? So we're the last car in line for a lot of the race, and he's just learning, just trying to stay out of trouble, get to the end of this thing. One time we cycle through with some pitch strategy, get up front. That's that big stack up into 11 where we just get run over from behind. Yeah. So now we're back to the last car again, just riding around. And we end up 22nd. And you beat 16 guys by just surviving, just being there at the end of the race. So a lot can be learned from that, for especially some of these young guys. Like just if you just get through the race, you're going to have a good day.
Yeah, just keep it between the walls.
Guess what we don't have to worry about there? Track limits.
No track limits there. There's a limit. There is a limit.
And there's walls to prevent you from
Larson found the limit in the sixth the one time, I believe.
Priest found the limit and Rick bounced off of it.
Did he? I didn't.
You didn't see Priest?
No.
He slid into 6.
Just
and he hit
right
it
out.
square, pushed him right back, and he kept going.
I know we got to get the spot on, spot off, but one thing I did want to talk about, and I know this comes up all the time, and we beat it to death, but the only thing that I might adjust at that place is the 4:00 local start.
Yeah.
Just because you put yourself in such a box of, if you look at that race, if it runs perfect, if there's no stage breaks, it's just under 2 hours just in lap time. Now you backed yourself up to about 6:00, a little after 6. If you add the 2 stage breaks, you're after 6:30. So now any delay whatsoever is going to put you up against a wall of where you only got about 45 minutes to an hour left to race. It was pretty apparent to me that, it was still the first stage when I'm like, we're not going to be able to run this whole thing because obviously the pace slows down a lot when you're on the wet tires. It's raining in the beginning of the race. It's just, I feel, I don't know, we always hear about you got to get closer to the start time. Closer to prime time for the start, and it helps the ratings. Last year, ratings were great. But I mean, I feel like you got to, and we'll see this again probably. I don't know what Indy's start time is, but Indy's a problem usually. Pocono's a problem. So I don't know. I don't know what the remedy is, but these late start times.
I know what the remedy is.
Move up.
Start the race earlier. Like, it's not that hard. I don't understand how anybody can be on the other side of this at a major sporting event where if you care about the fan experience, you want to get the whole race in. I don't understand how anybody can say a 4 o'clock start local in the summer at a track with no lights around the Great Lakes, by the way, which just like that was the other thing. People were like, there's a pop-up shower. How many hours before the race did I ask you if you had a rain jacket?
It was probably 2 hours.
I knew it was going to rain at 4 o'clock. Right, we have modeling. I don't know if you guys know this. There's apps for that. But, I mean, I found out that morning it's probably going to rain around the start of the race. And I was like, well, the forecast I saw was 80 and no rain, so I'm not prepared for this. Fortunately, they had an umbrella. But how you can say don't start the races earlier, it baffles me.
Earlier this morning, I know last week, Joey Logano replaced Hailie for the Chicago race. And earlier this morning, Hailie announced that her and the team have parted ways. What can you share about that one?
I mean, you saw this coming last week when they put Logano in. There was rumors that Hailie removed AM Racing from all her Twitter bios and whatever other bios, Instagram, social bios. We talked about it last week. This team was underperforming. Now, what was the reasoning? Who knows? They've made a crew chief change this year, I believe. Now they're making a driver change this year. Who knows if this was Hailie's decision to leave, if it was their decision to replace Hailie. It seems that both their statements say parting ways, so there's no clear-cut decision there. Listen, Joey gets in the thing this weekend and didn't exactly light the world on fire. I mean, he's pretty good at what he does.
Yeah. He ran a smart race.
He finished well, but he's supposed to.
Yeah. Like I said, if you're just riding around, but there's good people over there. This is when I saw this deal pop up in the off season. I was hoping it was in addition to Brett Moffitt, because I think something like that would have helped Hailie a great deal, because you have a benchmark. You have. Like, we've talked about this on here to death. Like, you need that guy that you can't build a program around an inexperienced driver. You don't know if your cars have speed if your driver doesn't have any experience at the tracks you're going to. So obviously money is a big factor in this, but if there was a way to have Brett and Hailie there, I think it would have only benefited Hailie. But unfortunately, it wasn't the case, and then they struggled all year long, really. And now they're going to have to go and take a route of putting drivers in here to try to evaluate where their program's really at. And there's good people over there, like I said, and hopefully they get it sorted out. Hopefully Hailie lands on her feet somewhere. I'm sure she will. She's a talented race car driver. This is not on Hailie either. We talked about it. She's won races in the regional series. So, it's just a weird combination of bad time, it seems like.
Fans need to understand one more thing, and that is, in that back half of the field, as TJ alluded to earlier, it can get pretty ugly pretty early. And when Joey Logano gets in that car, that back half of that field, they're not going to race him the way they're going to race her.
Oh, 100%. No, they're not going to. Yeah, that's a good point. I never even thought about that. Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
And you saw it in the.
Thank you.
You see it in the truck series, too, when like, they just, I feel like they're not going to dive bomb Joey. But if there's a chance to get a foot there, they're going to do it when it's Hailie in the car. So definitely, Joey is obviously a very experienced race car driver, and he knows how to drive right under the limit of the car, where and I don't think Joey went into that race thinking he was going to lead every lap, but he wanted to get some track time and a solid finish, and I think he did what he accomplished there, what he was going for, so.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue chatting Chicago street race during Spot On, Spot Off.
Summer's finally here. When I'm thinking of summer plans, it's hanging out by the pool, barbecuing on the grill, or best of all, sports.
From NASCAR races to baseball games, there's nothing like kicking back and catching a game with some buddies or the family.
FanDuel helps me keep up with the latest action in the sports world. All I have to do is open the app and make up any of the bets I'm in the mood for.
And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long.
So head over to FanDuel.com/DBC and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball.
21 and up and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Wager requirements apply. Bonuses awarded as non-withdrawable bonus bets or Profit Boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including bonus expiration. See terms and conditions at fanduel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanthegame.nc.gov. First topic, Chase Briscoe taking out race favorite SVG early on and ending SVG's chance to repeat. And my DBC pick. Spot on, spot off, Brett.
Oh, man, I thought you had a winner.
I mean, I picked Larson, he wrecks out the last time. Pick SVG, he wrecks out. So I'm just cursed at this point. It's fine.
I mean, he was the favorite to win the Xfinity race, and he won it. He was the favorite to win the Cup race, and it certainly looked like he was going to be a contention. Man, here's my favorite part about this whole SVG thing. Like, I feel like we had – stories and people transcend our sport, whether that be something that Richard Petty or Dale Earnhardt did back in the day, or whether we had a Ricky Carmichael or Travis Pastrana coming through here, even a Danica Patrick, or we have a Ross Chastain do a Hell Melon move. Like, those kind of things really just get a lot of media attention. But I feel like our fans in general right now are just really gravitating toward SVG from New Zealand, who raced in Australia, and they're pulling for this guy. And he's 35 years old. He's not showing up as a 20-year-old with the pressure and the weight of the world to be successful. He's already successful. He's already rich. He's already got a hot mate, right? He's already checked all the boxes. He's here. He's having fun. This guy gets wrecked out of the race by a Briscoe bomb, and he's smiling in his interview and still looks like he's having fun. So our fans are gravitating toward this guy, and it's for all the right reasons. His racecraft at road courses is absolutely amazing, and I'll tell you one quick story. I had the privilege of being in the hauler when him and Will Brown were talking at Sonoma, and they were talking about how we race in NASCAR versus how they race at home, and everything that Will Brown was asking about from a procedural standpoint about positioning his car, contacting another car. SVG's answer was, you can't do that at home, but you can do that here. And it's really cool to see him and Parker Klingerman and
who?
Who's the end there again?
Sorry, not Parker Klingerman. Landon Castle pointed out after the race, like, you see him come over here, and the crossovers that he was making in the Xfinity race, whether he was toying with him or not, you couldn't have put a sheet of paper between their bumpers when he was making those moves. So I respect what he's been able to do on ovals, because he hadn't gone out there, done anything dumb. He's trying to run all the laps. He's trying to get better. He's getting ready to go to all these tracks for a second time. But I'm going to tell you what you don't do if you're Chase Briscoe. Wreck a guy that's on the up-and-coming most popular driver list, because this guy is getting a massive fan base here in America.
When he took the lead from Jesse in the Xfinity race, the front stretch grandstands, the suites we were in, erupted. I mean, I was like, wow. You know what I mean? And he comes down, he's coming down the front stretch to take the checker, and the crowd goes wild as well. I know TJ heard that.
We definitely heard that. I think Brett is on Man Crush Monday.
That is happening.
He's got a new man crush. So
I want to be on the same spotter stand with him next
it
time.
started in Sonoma.
It
started in Sonoma.
Chase Briscoe's wrecking a mile before he gets there.
Yeah.
His car's literally pointed the wrong way.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
Like, what have we heard about these rain tires lately? We don't really race in the rain, which we ran the rain in the Roval. Like, I remember that race like it was yesterday. It was
I bet you did.
Disaster. But we don't race in the rain. We normally double file starts. I told Bubba we're choosing. He's like, what do you mean we're choosing? This is not going to be a single file start. It's pouring out here. No, we're doing double file. There's spray everywhere. That's what the lap. We go green. We get cleaned out by Bowman. Briscoe cleans out SVG. You just took out 3 really fast top 10 cars all day in like an experiment. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why we were doing that. I get it. We're up against time crunch. We're trying to get this in here, but it's like we just, you know what? Let's wing it for a lap and see what happens. We destroyed 3 of them. We better not do that. Bring them down pit road and
they didn't
park them.
Y'all did.
Well, there was a reason. Guys couldn't see. Chase said he just couldn't see, and when he realized where he was at, where he finally could see, he said, "Holy, I'm way past my marker," which was obvious.
I don't know though. I saw the in-car of it, and he was off-centered from another car in front of him. I think Chase was trying to make a pass on the car in front of him and just got in there a little bit deep, and
a little more than a little bit, I think.
A little bit. And once you get to that point, I think sometimes it seems like when these guys miss their breaking points, they don't just keep slowing down and have that little bit of a. They just like. I mean, it's like they pick up speed and try to find a gap and wreck between them.
Once he was facing the wrong way, he was definitely going faster. What did you guys think about the live pit stops on the wet pit road and how the exit happened?
So I didn't know we could do that. I thought that was like one of the big things we've not been doing. This is just what we're talking about. Gluck was talking about this last night also on just clarity. Like, you say we don't, where people are like, well, let's go racing back in the rain, at Sonoma, at New Hampshire. And they're like, no, we don't race in the rain. These are damp weather tires. They're not rain tires. Now we've raced in the rain at road courses before, so it's a little bit different. But, we couldn't have our choice of tires because we couldn't pit on live. We couldn't have live pit stops on a pit road. So we're rolling around there. I don't remember if it was a caution or a stage break. And I'm like, this is going to be a competitive pit stop. And they're like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, what? The pit road is soaked. And not to mention, these are some of the tightest boxes that we go to all year.
But didn't you complain on the show that they should let them choose tires and they should let them do competitive pit stops? And now they're trying it, right? Isn't that what you wanted?
Yes, but why didn't we do it the last time? This is my point. We need consistency. We need to do the same things over and over again. If it's a safety problem, it's a safety issue. If you have guys sliding around, thank God nobody got hurt yesterday. Everybody kind of knew they had to tiptoe into their box because it was so wet. I'm fine with it moving forward, but if we go somewhere, where we go next with the rain tires, it better be the same scenario. If not, then what are we doing?
So how do you try it for the first time?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is
you don't be like, hey guys, we're having a pit practice today. We're going to wet pit road.
They listened to your feedback. I don't know why.
Like you have to try it at some point.
Yeah, they did. That's exactly what you wanted.
I'm fine with it. Moving forward, it better be the same is what I'm saying.
Well, if you said that it might have failed, then maybe not.
I just want to say moving forward, I'm okay with it. I don't know if the tire changers are. I'm standing on top of a roof with an umbrella, so I'm good with it. But I just want to see pit road speed go from 45 miles an hour or whatever it was down to like 15. Like, I want to see it significantly reduced because I don't want to see.
They should at least drop 10.
I don't want to see a pit crew member get hit because we're doing something, experimental in the middle of a major cup race out there. But when they were trying to exit pit road, the cars couldn't exit.
Yeah, we had it stopped. We had it blocked off.
What was it blocked off with?
Cleanup trucks. It looked like to me anyway. They were kind of around the corner where I couldn't see them, but I knew we were coming down pit road and they were like blowing off, or I can't remember if it was tundras or
something.
And they were blowing off the outside, like or the pit wall, basically.
So if you're pitting, there's two things that need to be clear: pit entry, and pit exit.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine. You got to try at some point. Just go with it. I mean, everyone's in the same boat, so I do think the pit road speed limit, if it is wet, it probably could be adjusted a little bit, and maybe we have a different light system for that, or but like,
even if the pace car leads them down pit road, and in this scenario, I would be fine with that. If he's the only guy that says, all right, it's 25.
If I stay out,
he does it because they have the ability, absolutely, to get a free lap. But there are ways to do this and do it, I think, safer. And also, we were all surprised. Like, was it talked about in the driver's meeting of, hey, guys, don't be surprised if we get a wet pit road and we go live pit stops. Yeah. Like, most people are aware of what the rules are.
It's that is the issue of, don't tell me 1 week you can't do it, and then we just open up pit road and we're doing it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the surprise. Here we go. We're going to try this now.
I think everybody was prepared for it.
And, well, I'm good with it, obviously, but it's just like, if we go somewhere in a couple weeks and it rains, don't say we can't have our options of tires. And we just did everything perfect here. You got the option of whatever tire you wanted to put on, and now we've made wet pit stops. So this should be the case moving forward everywhere we go.
Watkins Glen's coming soon.
Speaking of surprises, spot on, spot off. Bubba Wallace putting race winner Alex Bowman in the wall on the cool down lap. Bubba was upset about Bowman spinning him earlier in the race during wet conditions.
This isn't a surprise.
Freddie. Sarcasm.
Listen, I agree with Alex Bowman. Shouldn't be a penalty. Listen, it's dumb. Shouldn't happen. It should never. You cannot run into people under caution. Cannot run into people under yellow after the race is over. Cool down laps especially, because the people are unbuckling. But unfortunately for the people that would like to throw Bubba out of the sport forever and ever and ever for this, it happens every week. I think if maybe it's not every week, it's damn
Close.
near every week.
Yeah, somebody, yeah.
It happened twice yesterday. One of them
Very common.
One of them for some reason didn't make it on television quite as much as the other one. I don't know why, but there's video out there of it now. Chase Elliott drives up and doors Daniel Suarez after the yellow flag, and I didn't see anybody crying for his immediate expulsion from from the sport.
Well, Daniel spun him out.
Oh, that's what it is.
Well, that really happened, but I mean.
So it's just, listen, I'm not condoning it. It's stupid. And if there is a penalty, there's precedent from, I think I looked it up. What was it, 18 years ago? I think Edwards got fined for door slamming Dale after the race when Dale had his arm out the window. So maybe if there's a fine, but I can't see it being a.
I don't know though. I don't think that was after the race though.
No, it was just starting yellow.
He may come down pit road and then he was coming off pit road and just, I think and he came from an angle
that looked like it could hurt him.
He almost T-boned him.
Yeah.
And that's different than to me than Bubba going up and bump. These cars are tanks, first of all, and I know Bubba would not be doing it if he thought that there was any worry about Alex getting hurt, but that doesn't say it should be done still. But these guys do this all the time after a race. Somebody catches up to somebody. What's the difference between Bubba dooring Alex a little bit than somebody run up and bump in the back of somebody?
Being
in the
more
back of him,
subtle, maybe?
Here's what I think gets him in trouble is the left side of Alex's car as it hit the wall kind of went up in the air, and it makes it look violent. I don't know if it was violent. I wasn't in Alex Bowman's car. Alex Bowman alluded to the fact that he deserved it. So
if it was violent, he would have said he shouldn't get
if I were officiating this particular scenario, I would dive into all the things and make a decision. Based on what I saw, it's not penalty worthy. Based on what I saw Chase Elliott do, it's not penalty worthy. However, the precedent around here is there are no precedents. We don't know what they're going to do. Here's where it's dumb on Bubba's part, is he's still in a position to point his way in. He's only like 45 points behind Buescher, and that's the guy he's racing for the last spot of guys that are in on points. Now, if somebody else goes out and wins the race, it ain't going to matter. But if they give him a points penalty, and he's 75, 85, 95, 100 points behind him, ooh, man, he's getting into must-win territory and not many races left. So I think that's where it was dumb on Bubba's part, is he wasn't thinking about the big picture. And the worst-case scenario happened. The guy who wrecked him won the race, and a guy who he was ultimately kind of racing at points won the race. So it changes everything.
Yeah. There's more to it than just this.
I saw people like, oh, they set the precedent last week. Carson Hocevar got this. I'm like, that is
way different,
completely different. I mean, Hocevar turned somebody in front of the half the field.
I mean, NASCAR posted the in car, and it does not look nearly as dangerous.
He didn't mean to turn it.
Listen, I am not saying what Bubba did was right by any means, so I don't want to hear any of that. But it just happens every week, literally almost every week. I can imagine if you went through and looked at every in-car camera after the race is over, you'll find an instance where somebody is running into the side of you. The winners do this, my buddies do this to congratulate each other when they win.
This is why Clint Boyer punched Ryan Newman 4,000 times in 8 seconds, because he wrecked him after the race was over.
Yeah, this is what it started with. I remember that fight with Brad and I think Kenseth. Didn't that start with them two running into each other after the race was over?
I think so. Yeah, if you're gonna, throw shade on Bubba, you need to go look at the other in-car camera after the race and make it, because there is absolutely no difference other than one car brushes the wall and one car doesn't.
Spot on, spot off. Austin Dillon says there are big changes coming to RCR at the end of the year. Both he and Kyle Busch are committed to the process of turning the organization's on-track performance around. TJ.
I'm spot on. If they've got a plan, I mean, they need to do something. And for Austin to come out and say this, I think speaks pretty highly, because he doesn't normally make comments like this, does he?
No. I mean, it seems to me like he's teasing a big hire.
I think the hire's already been made, honestly. I think there's – and I don't think it's the one you're thinking about or we talked about the other week. But, listen, Andy Petrie
retired,
middle of the year, which tells you that they're going a different direction. Keith Rodden has stepped up into the role, and the cars have had more speed the last few weeks. They just haven't got the finishes. I mean, we're a prime freaking example of it yesterday. but there are bigger changes coming above those positions as well. I can see, I can't allude to everything that I know, but there's changes coming, and I think they already know what they are and who those people are.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that there's obviously big names floating around that people are going to gravitate towards here, but it really doesn't matter who it is. If you're an RCR fan, you just want to see the performance pick up, And it's interesting to me to hear Austin say, he's got 2 years left on his deal. There's a lot of rumors about Austin maybe stepping out of the seat to go and run that place because, of this the downward trend they've kind of been on the last year or so, whatever it is. But to hear this from Austin, like TJ said, somebody that's not really vocal in the media a lot, hopefully gives you a glimmer of hope. Okay, maybe we're turning a corner. If you can get Kyle Busch to buy back in, that's a big step right there because, like we said on here a million times, he's one of the most talented race car drivers on the planet. So hopefully for RCR, they're going to pick up speed and it's just interesting to hear some of the names out there and maybe it's one you think one's very obvious, but it's not that one.
I'll tell you the story real quick, and I've been around Austin for I don't even know how long, decades it feels like, and I know where he's at in the points. We'll see like 32nd. Like it's bad. And I know how moody these race car drivers are, especially when they're on their way to the racetrack and when they're at the racetrack. Now, away from the track, they can kind of let it go for a minute, maybe enjoy a dinner, but these guys carry the pressure and the weight of the sport with them at all the time. I got on the bus going from the airport to the hotel in Chicago when we landed, and I was 2 rows behind Austin Dillon. And I didn't say hello to him because I didn't know what kind of mood he would be in. And we were about halfway there, and he saw me, and he said, "Hey, Brett, how you been?" And so we engaged in a conversation, and just literally a very nice, down-to-earth guy. And when you everybody wants to get on and bash him, and everybody wants to bash, whoever for having a bad day. Like, most of these dudes are normal dudes, and Austin Dillon in that scenario, he didn't have to be nice to me. And I literally was guarded against promoting a conversation because I didn't want him to be like, "Hey, Brett, what's up?" And I'd be like, well, he's in a bad mood. Like, now I'm rubbed wrong about him. But, people don't realize what it takes in this sport. I mean, TJ and Freddie, you're both very fortunate because you got to live it so close with the race car driver and watch their ups, their downs, their moods. Like,
Saying we're spoiled?
We're spoiled, 100% spoiled. But when they retire, like Martin Truex Jr. has no idea what he's about to go through. And I watched it, with very close friends of mine. Like, the weight of the world gets taken off these guys, and people are like, well, they're race car drivers. They got it made. Yeah, they have a great job. Yeah, they make a lot of money. Yeah, they get hot chicks, hot girlfriends and wives. They have, beautiful babies and do all these things. But people don't, man, this is a ton of pressure.
I don't even
know what to say about it.
I said yesterday in front of a group of spotters, Casey, that in my next life, I want to come back as a driver's wife or girlfriend because that's the best gig
with
in
a
the
hot
world.
mate.
With a hot mate. Yes, that's the best gig in the world.
That
You
might
get
be
to
the
fly
funniest
around,
thing
stay on
Casey's ever said.
motorhomes, helicopters, concerts.
Okay, let's. Anybody else have a comment on this topic before we move on?
Give me a
before
better
I
gig.
punch
Can
Brett
somebody
in the
please
face?
Photoshop pictures of Brett as a girl?
Preferably with SVG.
On it?
Yeah, please, with a hot mate.
I look like Roseanne Barr.
All right,
Brett on SVG's arm somewhere.
See, what's a better gig than being his girrlfriend or wife right now?
Are you kidding me?
I'm signing up right
Mine?
now.
I mean,
my next life.
I'm
He has
fine
a
where I'm
really
at.
cute dog too. I have no comment on that one. Spot.
I don't think his dog is cute. His dog's like 8 feet tall.
but
I don't know if you can call it 8
he's
feet
like
tall
the
dog.
nicest dog. Like,
Oh, we'd
he's
have a much smaller dog. I don't like big things.
we know.
Jeez,
Clearly.
man. I don't,
Y'all saw Cookie. She's short.
Moving on. John Probst, NASCAR's SVP and Chief Racing Development Officer, said if NASCAR pursues electric racing, they could reinvent the fan experience by possibly adding a DJ to races.
What?
Spot on, spot off, Freddie.
that's your next gig, Brett.
I need the full context of this quote because
Surely there's something missing.
because listen, this is not the way to promote. Like, if you want to get our fan base excited about this electric car coming,
I don't know.
this isn't it.
But I don't know if this is for. I don't know if this is directly for the current, fan base. Like, is it?
Well, I mean, listen, you can all fan there. You could
Cup
put
Series
anything.
isn't going anywhere.
You put anything on the racetrack, people are going to tell you somebody somewhere is going to love it. I mean, there's people that tell you still that Formula One's good racing. What? But I mean, come out here and talk about these cars. Listen, am I a huge fan of electric racing? But like you just hear tires screeching as you go around the track? Probably not. But let me tell you what they're going to do. And I learned this out the hard way when I got in TJ's Tesla. These cars are going to haul ass. Like, you know what I mean? Like Reagan wrecked this thing wherever he wrecked it. I don't know.
LA Coliseum.
LA Coliseum. Because it was hauling ass. You know, what do they go 0 to 60 in, I don't know, 0.3 seconds? You know what I mean?
It's ridiculous.
It's like a damn light switch. I mean, we heard numbers over, what have people been asking for in the Cup car? Over 1,000 horsepower? Well, guess what this thing, it's not horsepower,
it's
but whatever
an RC
it is.
car, a life-size RC car is what it is.
So, I mean, Kate, like, I'm sure he did, and this is just a quote that got pulled from it, but like this, if this is the quote that ended up on the article that I read, nobody's going to be excited about the fact that we're going to go listen to a DJ at the race today. I don't think.
I think it was more of an example, but I
imagine
understand
like
your
5
point.
years from now, Brett be like, he'd be spotting for Shane in that series. Hey, mate, your battery's low. Pit for battery.
That would be the thing. Those are the questions I would have about this, and we talk about cost and everything else, like how long.
Here's my question: who's going to pay for this? Who is going to pay to put a full field of electric cars out there? What sponsor? What manufacturer? Like, if I look at this build,
Elon.
If I look at this build and I say what gets me excited about this electric car build, it would literally be if it were a Tesla. And it would be if Elon were there talking about the technology and how he incorporates it into, his street car that TJ drives. And like, I can't get excited about this.
So,
I literally don't care. It's a waste of time to me. And whatever money, what do you think they've spent on this thing? I would rather see that money go to Chicago street race or fan experiences or whatever. I can't get excited about this because flat out electric cars aren't a thing in my life. Like the way that I live my life and the driving that I do, and it doesn't work.
Well,
Sorry.
On that topic, Adam Stern tweeted earlier that NASCAR is in advanced talks to invest in nitrocross, a move that would allow NASCAR to play a role in an EV racing series, but without it being one of its main national circuits, meaning have some sort of involvement, help improve that idea of racing without spending as much money as they would with a national circuit.
This is all I see this series being something like that. It's like the other the Formula E series they have. You don't see a lot about it, but once in a while you see a driver that used to be a Formula One driver might go down there and run some, and I could see that happening here. You might have somebody that you just haven't seen a lot lately that hop in there and have 5-6 races a year somewhere. But this isn't. And honestly, I'm going to watch. If they have a race, we're going to watch it.
I'm not going to watch it.
You're not going to watch the first race?
No.
You will.
No,
yes, you will.
You also said you're never going to Chicago either. That also changed.
I don't have any affinity toward. Listen, I believe in sustainability. I believe in taking care of the planet. I don't believe that 40 Cup cars running around on 3 hours a week are poisoning the planet. Like, I ain't buying into that.
This is not. People get outraged with this all the time. This is not coming to take over the Cup Series. Like, this is not. There may be some kind of. Years from now, there may be some kind of.
Maybe this is a prelim race that we have somewhere at some tracks. You know what I mean? Like, how you want more races at a track?
I think this is just a niche thing that they're hoping to catch on with some.
Why don't we put them out there with no drivers too while we're at it?
That went well. Did you see that video? Just the video of the car getting pulled over with no driver in it.
Yeah, maybe we do it. Hey, maybe we drive them from the roof.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. That should be a big fan winner
like
right there.
RC cars?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they're selling out, 50,000 people watching RC car races all over the world these days.
Justin Hailie do that?
I don't know. He flies an airplane. I don't know if he drives RC cars.
He won the RC Chili Bowl this year.
Oh.
He did.
Did he?
He did.
The most interesting part of this to me is the fact that in this article it says that the bodies of these cars are built from plant-based materials rather than carbon fiber.
Oh, like plant burgers?
So they're vegan cars.
Like
They're vegan
plant
cars.
burgers?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I got vegan electric cars.
What's them burgers
with no
called?
drivers?
What are those?
I love this kind of racing. This is awesome.
Well, the driver they put in wrecked it. So
We're gonna race around the Whole Foods parking lot.
Don't they have a special name for those? Like, isn't there a certain brand that makes those vegan burgers? Like,
brought to you by the Impossible Burger.
The Impossible Burger?
These are impossible race cars, Brett.
You can't drive them.
But to answer your cost question earlier, the prototype was $1.5 million.
Ooh.
That's what it cost. $1.5 million.
People are going to sign up for that. excited. I can't wait to see the line.
We better be accurate with those calls. Maybe we'll spot that. Brett gonna be spotting. He's gonna be spotting the electric race.
I'm gonna be spotting wherever Joel Edmonds was this past
You
weekend.
won't even need a radio.
And then what are we doing?
Real loud, they can hear you.
Are we swapping? Are we swapping batteries out on pit road?
Yeah.
I don't think the race is long enough to need a second battery.
You don't think so? You just have one battery.
Just
That's
call
it?
them on their cell phone on speakerphone. You don't even need a
You
headset.
need to go. Like,
TJ would know he has a Tesla.
yeah, I mean the average electric car is probably
280 miles.
Yeah, I mean I think 280 to 300 or something like that. If you
And I'm
did it-
sure you lose a battery if you jack it up to 1,000 horsepower.
Right, that's what I was
But
thinking.
I'm
is-
saying, like, okay, you still say you run a 100-mile race. Isn't that not enough?
Please, dear God, Casey, move this show
That's
on.
plenty.
This when TJ starts talking about his Tesla, this is
Listen.
all we needed. All right, before
When you're not locked out of the thing, it's great.
okay, we're taking a quick break. We will head to Reaction Theater when we come back.
Now it's time for our favorite segment, Reaction Theater, where it's your turn to be heard. Reaction Theater is brought to you every week by Consumer Cellular.
Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as leading carriers, but with plans as low as $20 a month.
And now for a limited time, get their best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. See consumercellular.com for promotional details. Let's go to the calls.
Man, I'm about 5 bourbons into this thing, and let me tell you, this had to be one of the best races I've seen in a long time. It was a cluster from start to finish. I don't know what was going on with that clock, but man, at the end, that was sure fun. How about we do this again? I don't know, maybe we should try to bring it to Oklahoma City. Holla.
Oklahoma City, is that on our list?
I don't think Oklahoma City's close to the top of the street circuit list.
Well, that's probably where they're taking them electric cars.
This is a slip and slide 165 all of a sudden. Damn. There goes another one.
165, it was the damn 120 something. Was that the
127
shortest
or
race
something.
ever?
No, I saw that it wasn't, but there was go back to some Kyle Petty one somewhere.
Yeah, second shortest race in the modern era.
It was 5 hours long. I can tell you that. That wasn't short.
Hey, is it just me, or does Tyler Reddick's crew chief look like an old Tyler Reddick?
I'm confused.
I feel like I'm being
Is he having
punked.
the same bourbon the other guys?
Billy,
That guy's smoking some of that weed I smelled this week.
Billy Scott is no less than 4 foot taller than Tyler Reddick, I would say.
Yeah, that's probably not the same jeans.
Maybe 2 Tyler Reddicks.
No, that's how you're probably looking at like 28 40s and for Billy's jeans.
And then 15 10s for
Ten.
Tyler.
You know,
Custom made.
should get our weekly. If Nick Flicks would have spent less time wiping off that camera and focusing on the track, maybe Tyler could have.
Let me tell you something. Tyler's on my list. I mean,
Oh.
it's 2 weeks in a row he could have prevented new winners and,
Oh, he's
and
not
did
helping
not. So
you. Yeah.
Okay, I think he's having a hard enough time on his own with his interviews
Jeez,
lately. I
Casey.
feel so awful. Like,
he
What's
should
wrong?
he
His
should
fault?
feel bad. It is his fault.
okay, move on before Freddie's in the bad mood today.
It's been a
You
worse
know, I
week.
don't understand it. You got windshield wipers, you got mud flaps, you got defrosters, you got rain tires. Well, Carson Hold My Balls ain't got no dang windshield wiper right now. But this is all Freddie Kraft's fault. Mr. Freddie Kraft macaroni and cheese, this is all your fault. You know? It's the way we see it. But anyway, TJ, I hope your Tesla's cranking in the rain.
Do
And
they
I hope you
crank?
got rain tires on that Tesla, too. See ya.
It's grippy in the rain.
How do they crank?
App on my phone.
Flip a switch.
Sorry, I cut that.
But
out.
is that cranking or is that starting?
No, it's just
It's turning it on.
accelerating.
You're turning it on. You don't even crank it.
cranking it up? What do you do when you crank a car? You turn it on.
Crank that
Here,
DJ up.
You want to turn it on?
No.
Just go ahead and hit that little power button right here.
Next
There,
call.
Hit that off.
Sitting around waiting for this rain delay to finish, and we got Ty Gibbs not understanding what watertight is. But you know what they say. I may not be a smart man, but at least my grandpa has lots of money.
Big Ty Gibbs fan there, it sounds like.
What money?
He's Forrest Gump.
I didn't get that. Yeah, I'm a little slow.
You are a little slow. Yeah. Stupid is as stupid does, TJ.
Mom always said. You know what that race was like, Freddie? A box of chocolates.
Yeah.
Never know what you're going to get.
10-4.
All right, before I gush about the Xfinity race, I just want to say I've been to about 20 races in person between IndyCar, NASCAR, and F1, and getting to watch your driver win today at the track is one of the greatest feelings on the planet. Way to go, Pato, winning at Mid-Ohio. Now, second of all, Xfinity race. What a fantastic race. Honestly, my favorite race of the year. The way Larson and SVG battled for about half the frickin' race without wrecking each other, that's quality. We want more of that in NASCAR. 10 out of 10 experience.
Agreed.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a requirement for 2311 drivers to cry boo-hoo for me after the races, but 2 in a row with Reddick is getting to be a bit, you lost the race. Too bad. Boo-hoo, boo-hoo, boo-hoo.
Yeah, I told you. Kiss my Tyler. Damn it. I was slapping Nick the whole time the last lap. Like, go catch his ass. And then I see Tyler driving to the wall, and I think it was 4. And I was like,
my Netflix Nick, he took
Nick Flicks. We've changed it.
Netflix.
No, it's Nick Flicks now.
It's Nick Flicks.
Nick Flicks.
So he took one of them Chicago handshakes with us.
He did. Yep.
You know who else took one with us? Kristen Bauer.
Yep. KB was
For,
back. It was her birthday this week.
DBC OGs, yeah.
Yeah. And they both told me that they'll never do one again. So I don't know. It's weird.
I concur.
And what was the name of that booze?
Malort. It's right there. We got a bottle of it right there. You want to try some more?
Nah.
Somebody sent us some after last year.
You can use that to start campfires.
It's disgusting.
It's pretty bad.
Dang it, Freddie. Probably one of the few 23 fans that call in here not complaining about Bubba. But at what point do you need to use your spotting skills to spot a new crew chief? Because, man, it seems like all year, last year, if it's not some dumb strategy that takes you guys out of a race and you're running fast, it's a dumb mistake on pit road. And it just seems like every single week the 23's fast or something stupid that happens. So, I don't know. Looks like 45's running fine and dandy, but then you look at the 23 and they're in 30th place from some weird strategy. I don't know. Go 23.
We did have a terrible strategy yesterday. We were in front of Alex Bowman in turn 4 when it was raining. I wish Booty did not put us there. I don't know what the he was thinking.
I would feel the same if I was in front of you, just so you know, because I would be nervous.
Listen, but like the funny thing is, Booty made one of the best calls of the year yesterday because we restarted 36th, and we were one of the people that short pit the stage, put the dry tires on, and came out, and it wasn't a huge advantage. So Booty says to me, he says, if we can't gain nothing, come back down pit road. So nobody pit in front of us. Maybe one guy, I think, pit in front of us. So he says, come down pit road. So I just assumed we were coming down for fresh, dry tires, like have a little bit of fresher rubber. He bolted wets on it. And we drove from 36th to 13th in about 5 laps. What it seemed like.
Yeah, that's actually a really smart call.
Yeah.
Because the crossover point early in the race was pretty steep and quick. The track dried at a much faster rate. And that did not happen. So putting the wets on at that point, fresh wets, because we had wet tires on, but we burned them up. Yeah, we just didn't need all them as many cautions at the end. But man, that's a good call.
I mean, we did get aided by obviously you got turned around the 9 we got some spots through attrition, but I mean, Bubba was passing cars when there was kind of a challenge at that point.
I mean, but you on them in-car cameras, look at how fast they catch cars. It's incredible. It's fun. I mean, it makes the racing exciting.
Hey, this is 1-800 Hitman for Hire. Mr. Almendinger, we just want to tell you that your contract was completed by Mr. Briscoe today. Please just send your payment for completion. Thank you. I know it must be hard becoming the old forgotten dog when a new one comes around. Maybe watching Toy Story for assistance with coping. And also, if you have any donations for Bubba Wallace for his fine after yesterday, and no joke, when is it time to talk about the 7 car becoming open? Not been great all year long.
Yeah, that car is definitely cooled off.
That's a good
clever.
one,
That was
TJ.
clever. He was a big hit among spotters last week, wasn't he?
Yeah. He
Appreciate
I
the
think he saw what Spotter Nation can do to you. He's stacking something up pennies.
I appreciate the Freddie and
I
the rest of
love
the
Corey, by the
internet.
way.
stacking cool shirts.
Yeah.
I love Corey. I think the banter is amazing.
I only give them guys. If
know.
it actually annoyed me, I wouldn't say anything. But I love both of them guys, so it was fun to them a little bit.
I can see my text string right now. 2 years from now, Skip Flores, mark me a spot.
Skip, well, I realized Skip, like, he almost was a spotter. You know, he does some spotting from time to time, and that was kind of his thing. Like, he was coming into the sport like tire changer spotter, and he went obviously the right route, took a tire changer deal, but yeah, for sure.
Pineapple people handcuffed to the track. Ready, I know where it's at, and I know that you know where it's at, because, boy, it's up your ass.
What was
That's
that?
what a Chicago handshake will do to you.
How much did you drink last night before you got on the plane? I mean, Jesus, was that you?
No, it wasn't me. I didn't have anything to drink. I needed something to drink.
I don't know what that was about.
It's the
I
most
don't know
that
what
might have been the
was
most
about.
random call that I've ever heard on here.
Yeah, that was interesting, and can confirm there's nothing up my ass. So that I'm aware of, I should say. I don't know. It was a late night.
You want to come back as driver's wife too?
Maybe. Is that one of the
You
prerequisites?
think, what would happen if we were both driver's wives and we were buddies?
Who would you like
We'd
to
be girlfriends?
So we know SVG is who Brett would like to be married to. Freddie.
New Photoshop. Brett and Freddie as wives together hanging out.
Who would I like to be married to?
How many kids do you guys want?
I don't know.
I want to be
Probably.
I want to be hot though. Like, I want to be a hot driver's wife.
I'm going for Dale. I mean, does anybody got more money than Dale?
Amy, watch out.
Brett likes Australians, or what do we call them now? It's not. I mean,
he's New Zealander.
Yeah, or I mean, I can see you going after. You can't really call them young money anymore. So what do they call it? Like mid-age money?
I don't.
I did hear that this weekend. It's not. Kyle isn't really young anymore.
That's who I'd want to act like too, because she's fun.
So you want to be
that's
married
you?
to
Yeah.
SVG and act like Caitlin?
Yes.
We've already kind of started the girlfriend process by going to the bathroom together this week.
I don't.
Very true.
Why did this have to come up?
Is
What?
it noon yet?
Okay.
Well, this is the most weird conversation
Well-
that we have ever had on here.
We
She doesn't know what to say.
we're gonna take a break because it's clearly needed.
She is a driver's girlfriend turned
I-
wife. Look how good she's got it. She's here with us.
Me?
Oh yeah, we got baby moons. What do you call that vacation?
She was
My
just in-
baby moon was Indiana Midget Week. Okay.
Well, that was your own choice. Oh, you just Kate. You
No,
guys.
that does
No, you
not
know what you
count.
get. You know what happens though. You get birthday months or weeks or whatever though, not just a
Yeah.
day. Like
She should. She
well, no,
deserves
you
it.
would.
Okay, we're gonna take a break.
Freddie would too.
I need a break from these three people. When we come back, we'll hit up Ask DBC and I can't. The visuals I have of this. When we come back, we will hear y'all's questions on Ask DBC. All right, to leave an audio message 24/7, call our number 704-802-9572.
Consumer Cellular is the official wireless partner of Brett Keselowski, RFK Racing, and the number 6 car. If they can count on Consumer Cellular, you can too.
Brad Keselowski and RFK Racing know speed, and that's just what you get with Consumer Cellular.
Consumer Cellular has award-winning, 100% U.S.-based customer service centers, so you can always get the help that you need. It's like having your pit crew right when you need them.
Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as the leading carriers, but with plans starting as low as $20 a month. There are no activation fees and no contracts. Consumer Cellular customers stay because they want to, not because they have to. They don't need to trap their customers.
You can even try Consumer Cellular for 30 days risk-free. If you don't love it, cancel it. But we'll bet you love it.
And now, for a limited time, get their best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of free service. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. See ConsumerCellular.com for promotional details.
Moving on to Ask DBC. First question is from Matt. After hearing Alex Bowman's post-race interview, I gotta know which one of y'all was the last to wake up naked on the bottom of the bathroom floor.
On the bottom of the bathroom floor.
Yes.
So, as opposed to the
sorry.
top. Of the
You wake up naked on the bathroom floor. Brett, your pregnancy comments are coming in true.
I think mine was last week. No, I'm kidding. I think it was when I was 21.
I don't know. I don't know that I've ever passed out on the bathroom floor.
Yeah,
I mean, I passed
my
out.
21st birthday, I didn't make it out of the bathroom.
I made John do 21 shots on his 21st birthday.
Oh.
Guess how that went?
Bad.
Actually, I think I did pass out on the bathroom one
John's
time.
the only person I've ever known to be beside in the Atlantic Ocean, and he started throwing up. And I was like, I saw a shark, bro. I was like,
luckily for us, he drifted off a little bit, and I was like, "What's he doing over there?" Brett's like, "Oh, he's puking." He is. What would you say? Waist
titty
at least
deep.
chest deep
chest
in
deep,
water,
breast deep.
throwing up.
Yeah.
So he's throwing up like right here.
Right in front of him, and it's just floating.
Perfect. Solid, yeah. I did wake up.
That's
on the
worse
bathroom
than being
floor.
on
It was
the bathroom
Vegas.
floor.
That's the day Brett drank 21. What the are those
Pina
things?
coladas.
Pina coladas
With rum floaters.
I don't know how you drink more than 2 of those things.
Yeah.
And he drank 20 of them.
With the floaters too.
With the
huh?
floaters.
Oh.
They were brown. It was a Myers rum floater on a pina colada. They were no longer white.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great visual. This next one is from K-Dub. Should NASCAR consider adding a rule that states if a caution occurs within 5 laps of a stage break, that caution then becomes a stage break?
Yeah, why not? Let's just change all the rules
No.
during the race.
No
I
more
seen
rules.
people yesterday talking about they should have just eliminated the second stage when we realized
Oh
it
my
was
gosh.
running late. Yeah, let's just change all the rules. Why would
We had
like
you. So the deal is with that. So for first timers here or whatever, they're not going to open. If the caution comes out with 3, 4, 5 to go in the stage, they are not going to open pit road unless they can go back green before the end of the stage. And I think at this point there was 4 to go. By the time the pace car had to field, it was 3 to go. And it was raining, I believe, as well, wasn't it?
Yes.
So
Yes.
there was really no choice. You can't. The reason you can't open pit road and not go back green, or and do that is because guys will pit and then you can essentially swap the field. Like it's an unfair advantage for guys, and it just doesn't. We've been through that before. We trialed and errored that, and now they fixed it. So
Yeah, you can't change this stuff. You can't. People base their entire race strategies off of knowing when the cautions are going to come
Stage
out. You can't
points.
just decide, you know what, move this caution up 5 laps. It's fine.
stage points and stage wins are so valuable right now that you can't say, okay, pit road's open, 1 lap shootout, because then all the guys that have position, you're taking away their stage points and you're throwing their race away.
I would honestly be fine. I think the problem is, you would get into a spot if they open that pit road there with 3 to go. People are diving off the line to, to come in, and then all of a sudden, somebody stays out. Well, if they get to the line and it switches to 2 to go,
Yeah.
well, pit road's closed. And now, we saw guys get
Yeah.
trapped with that. We saw guys get trapped with that under the green flag stops. I think it was AJ, the 17,
Yeah.
the 51, a bunch of them. They got penalties because they committed to pit road and somebody stayed out and beat them to the line and closed pit road on them. It's unfortunate, bad timing, but you can't change the rules of a race in the middle of the race.
And it's not you're throwing, like, it's not a fair thing to do.
No.
Well, don't forget to send in your questions on X each week using hashtag AskDBC. We come back from the break. We are going to welcome our What an Idiot contenders from this week.
I've got, list.
There's a list of them.
Oh, well, feel free to start us off, Freddie.
First, what's his name? Alande, 17th guy on the way by. Justin Allgaier hits him, cleans him out,
Well, he was on a good
destroys
lap.
Perth's race cars. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, though, and I'll keep it simple. When did the caution come out?
Before he got there.
Before he got there.
Yes.
There was
And
cars
he was the
plenty.
17th guy.
I mean, I saw everybody go by fine, but I was curious.
Yes.
When did the caution come
Caution
out?
was out. Then twice this week, I already said Reddick. He's my one idiot too. But twice this week we've had, and we brought it up on here. Almost Bobby Timmons a couple weeks ago getting hit by that pace truck or whatever it was, push truck. the one guy leaves the pit road, leaves the garage, pit area, whatever, on a 4-wheeler right out in front of, I don't even know if it was a street stock or whatever that was, gets T-boned, flies through the air.
Yeah.
Lucky he's not dead. I think they said he broke his leg. I seen another video where there's a sprint car.
And a late model.
Like crisscrossing, or somebody hanging out of the side of it. What the are these people doing?
Could you imagine being the guy sitting on this and seeing a sprint car come into the corner? Did you see that, Brett?
Yeah.
Could you imagine being, or how about the guy in the sprint car? Like, nah, he's not gonna. Oh my gosh,
I don't get it. Like, I don't know what the hell these people. What goes through your mind?
I have no idea. Like, those are definitely top candidates for what they were. The guy in the 4-wheeler, the guy's coming at you almost head on. How you got to be able to see that.
Yeah.
Right?
You're gonna love my What an Idiot.
Oh, let's hear it.
It's a very simple question. This is not a trick question. What time does the sun set this time of year in North Carolina?
Sunset?
Roughly.
I mean, just ballpark.
8:26.
That's pretty close. So, good friend of ours, Doug Campbell.
I was going to say, you're not going to use his name now.
Oh, yeah, I'm using it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Spots for Austin Cindric, for all you that don't know. He texts me, because we've been talking about getting together for 4th of July fireworks. And he texts me and he goes, hey, man, what time are 4th of July fireworks? 7 o'clock?
7.
Brett says, no, they typically wait for the sun to go down before they fire them off, Doug.
How old is Doug?
I said probably closer to 9.
How many summers has Doug been through as a kid when he played outside to almost 9 o'clock?
Not many, apparently. He don't really think a lot sometimes. He just reacts. He's more of a reactionary
Oh,
guy.
sounds familiar.
And these guys they're going to win my What an Idiot if they handcuff themselves to the fence. Did the protesters climb the fence or did they handcuff themselves to the fence yesterday?
I don't know what they did. They looked like they were chained to it or something.
What were they protesting?
No telling.
I don't know.
Well, they really did well then.
It was overseas stuff.
It's not peaceful to me.
believe.
I would lock them up for 10 years.
I would have left their ass sitting up there.
Yeah.
You want to try this? Go ahead, watch these cars go by you in here a minute. Like you'll start your pants.
You'll unlock
I thought
yourself
somebody
real
had the
fast.
best idea, which was they have like prefabbed walls and more fence. That they should have just picked that wall up and drug it off and removed it with them all chained to it and just dropped them off. Did you see the deal with? Or was it Irwindale with the art with Venerini and the?
They couldn't.
I don't know. I don't know the context.
Yeah, there was a jumped restart or something. They were looking at a restart, and then I guess it was Jack Wood. I didn't see the restart, but I heard one of the announcers say they're reviewing the restart, and then all of a sudden I was like, "Yeah, he won!" Like that was
and then there was F-bombs, and they didn't.
the announcer. Did you hear the announcer?
Oh yeah,
that was awesome.
I need more context. I'd have to call Billy and see what the hell.
I want to know who he was
happened.
talking to.
Yeah.
Any other on your list?
I mean, Freddie had mine as the guys crossing the track because that is totally preventable. I can tell you who's not getting my What an Idiot this week, and he's been a pretty frequent customer of mine, is the 99. He handled business in turn 12, so I was happy about that. So
that was that Retribution. I didn't go back and watch.
So yeah, we were running 11th into turn 11, and the 9 drives in there with no brake pressure until he hits the 99, which knocks us into the fence, and then the 99 retaliates in turn 12 and handles it. So, and then I don't know why. Maybe something happened before that, but I don't think it's very cool just to drive in there and use cars as your brake pedals on the last lap, especially people of that stature.
Do you think they're done pulling all the Stewart Haas cars out of the tire barriers yet today? I felt like every time I looked up, they were all. I felt bad for them. I mean, they were all. Every caution was one of them.
There's some pictures of the walls getting removed and all that. I think some of the Stewart Haas cars are going up with the
definitely still some body panels.
Priest is the luckiest one now.
Just bounce back.
Yeah, and Josh tested all the corners of the car.
Poor Noah. Noah was probably the cleanest one. Everybody thought he was going to have an issue with turn 6 again.
Well, on the opposite end of What an Idiot, I do want to give a shout out to all of our CBI drivers. Owen Larson, Wyatt Miller, and Braxton Flatt got multiple wins this past weekend. So it was cool watching them race.
Big weekend for Casey Boat Racing.
Chloe
Boat
Oh, my
Racing.
bad.
I have no say
Sorry.
whatsoever. Moving on to DVC picks. Shout out to TJ, who won, even though I thought I would win. We are taking picks for Pocono.
Where Toyota's going to dominate.
Yeah, thank you for texting me that.
5 of the last 6 races were won by 5 of the last 6 finishers last year were Toyota drivers.
All right. Well, I go
Denny
first.
Hamlin's defending winner, Casey.
Yep, I go first. Thank you, Brett. I would also like to thank those that sent recommendations over. My pick is Denny Hamlin.
Good pick.
Freddie.
I will take Chase Briscoe.
Brett.
Kyle Busch.
TJ.
I'm going to regret that, I think, because I wanted to save him for another one, but I'm letting it ride.
I'm going with a guy who's probably still sleeping right now or just went to bed, Alex Bowman.
Yeah, that's a bad pick. He's going to be hungover for a week.
I don't have.
I'll tell you what.
I don't
I'm
have
gonna
a lot to pick from.
I don't know if I picked this guy already yet, but if Christopher Bell is running in the rain, I'm picking him from now on because apparently that's his forte. I mean, he kicked everybody's ass in New Hampshire in the rain. He was kicking everybody's ass yesterday in the rain, especially when you have
Do you want to get
dry
DQ?
tires on.
I just think
slick.
They have a lot of momentum right
racetrack.
now. Those guys have a lot of momentum. They're fast every week, no matter what. So
you pick 2.
I picked Chase Briscoe 5 minutes ago. I said I would pick Christopher. It was going to rain somewhere.
Baby brain.
That's okay.
This is a big test because Pocono, Indy, Michigan, 3 really big tracks coming up to close out regular season. Obviously, you got Daytona, Darlington, and Richmond in there, but man, it's a big weekend.
They're all big weekends right now.
Yeah.
What can we expect as we watch this weekend?
Track
Fans.
restarts are the best in the business here, 4 or 5 wide. Spotting here is one of the hardest challenges of anywhere we go. I mean, I always thought Phoenix and Pocono are 2 of the hardest tracks. I don't think that'll ever change. I mean, your cars are just so far away from you in turn 1, going away from you. Even the tunnel turn, it's like they're a mile from you back there. So challenging racetrack, fun racetrack.
This has the ability to, Brett's talked about Toyota's dominance here, but fuel strategy seems to always come into play at Pocono, and this is a place where somebody might be willing to get risky and steal a win.
This is the type of place that you can have all the speed in the world, but you might be too fast because the guy in 11th who doesn't have that speed knows it, and he's Logano of Nashville. That's what could happen here.
Last 2 weeks have been sneaky winners, not guys that you thought were going to win, and as the race played out, didn't think would have a chance.
I'm telling you right now, it could be a fuel situation. You see Paul and them guys, like that's the type of race that they are going. They can sneak up there and win.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you guys listening. We'll be back next week, we hope.
Yeah, glad Brett's back from Chicago.
Survived.
You heard it. Would you go back?
I would. If I I would rather not go back on July 4th.
Wow,
which is
I'm
on
just
a
saying,
Friday
in general,
next year.
would you go back?
Dude, I'm telling you, 100%. Like I said earlier in the show, like for a race fan, they should
I
go
hope
to
race
this.
fans that enjoyed the Chicagoland track that maybe haven't given the street course a chance yet, venture up there and check it out.
Yeah, it's awesome. We're out.
Have a great week.
Holla.
See you.